If you're thinking about DIYing a French drain with yard drains in it, you want to do catch basins with a French drain, this video is for you. You're going to want to watch this video and you're going to want to listen to all the details that make a really good French drain, yard drain combination. So the water coming off the high ground is going to come into the area that we have our yard drain. Just 2 6-inch round, no French drain. We want to catch the bulk water here. Now we do know that the majority of the water makes it up against the house. It's just how the grade is pitched. So we want to make sure that we have double the pipe. So instead of just a single pipe, we have the double catch basins. We're going to be moving 400 gallons per minute. We'll get 5 inches of water in here on really hard thunderstorms. What we're going to do is we're going to put in a yard drain system, but we do want to put in a French drain with this yard drain right here. We're going to show you an easy DIY on how we're going to do that. So behind this condo, we have this defined dip, low point, perfect for collecting water. A lot of people just fill this in with dirt. It's the biggest mistake you can make. We're going to do a French drain, yard drain combination right through here. We're going to have some inlet basins. We're going to have some French drain. All right, for this installation, we're going to use a special kind of pipe. But first, let's talk about the 2 pipes that are most common. Saw cut perforated pipe. What is that? That's when blades grind out material. They remove material. The blades actually, you can see all these slots where there's a lot of daylight. There were blades that removed material from this pipe's sidewall. Then we got our solid pipe. Now, when you combine the two, you end up with a solid pipe where there's just blades that just cut and don't grind. We're not talking about removing material. We want to keep it a solid pipe, but we also want the benefits of the perforated pipe where it'll take in water. We're going to use knife cut. Some manufacturers call this process fine cut. Depending on the manufacturer, this is known either as fine cut or knife cut. All right, this is a true DIY. The guys are hand digging this French drain. The portion of this yard drain that's also going to be a French drain, we wanted to show you just how easy this is to DIY. You can use a trencher because it only makes a 6-inch groove. Or you can use a narrow shovel. That way you're not having to remove as much dirt. And you're not having to buy as much stone. Guys dug this with a trench shovel. Narrow shovel. We use this to get under sidewalks. You could either rent a trencher if you have a really big system, or just buy one of these shovels that's specifically for trenching. All right, I'm going to tell you what we're doing for this job. I'm going to tell you why. Okay, so here is a basin, a yard drain basin, where you can put a 3 or 4 inch pipe on it. We're not going to use this, and I'm going to tell you why we're not going to use this. There's no sump. So when dirt falls in the catch basin, when the dirt falls inside the catch basin as the water's being pulled down into the catch basin, what it's going to do, the dirt's going to come down here and it's going to start to fill the pipe full of dirt and it's going to clog the pipe. So we want to use a basin that has 1 gallon of capacity to fill up with dirt, trash, debris that can be cleaned, maintained, and then it doesn't fill the pipe. The other thing, so here I'm going to show you the difference. So you go ahead, you see one pipe. Let's look at this bottom pipe versus this pipe. You see the difference in sump? There's no sump on this one. There's no sump on this one. Look at that. Look at the amount of sump that's still available on the bigger basin. Now, this is my opinion based on what I could tell. When dirt and sediment falls into this catch basin, it plugs the pipe because it has nowhere else to go. A catch basin is supposed to be a sump that holds dirt. This is really a 3-inch opening because it's meant to where you can snap a 3-inch pipe inside and you could snap a 4-inch pipe outside, but this chokes it down, restricting it when you're using it as a 4-inch pipe. But look, this is only 5 inches wide. It fits in a trench made by a shovel. Super easy to install. This is an easy DIY. This basin was purpose built for yard drain, French drain combinations. It does a lot of things for us, this 4-way connect, but this is at the top of the list. Easy DIY, yard drain, French drain. We're going to show you all the details. Now, A 6-inch grate can overwhelm one 4-inch pipe. So this grate, you can see there's like a lot of thick material here. About as much, you know, you see these louvers, they're as heavy and as wide as the openings. Well, if you made them any bigger, it wouldn't really help you if it was on this basin, because you're only running one pipe. And a 6-inch opening can overwhelm a 4-inch pipe. So this grate here, you can see it's like looking through a window. That's ridiculous. It doesn't have all that material for the grates. Big difference, big difference. Because this is a twin pipe, we're going to be able to run this. Not going to see any pooling standing water because this basin is going to keep up. This here flows more water than any 6-inch round basin on the market. It has a bigger sump than any 6-inch round basin on the market. And because it's only 5 inches wide, it fits in a trench made by a trencher that you can go rent. This is the easiest DIY French drain yard drain. So right through here, we decided to make this a French drain yard drain combination. Going to show you guys just how easy this is. So you see how there's not a lot of dirt removed. We only need a trench that's 5 inches wide. Our pipe is 4.5 inches wide. That's outside diameter. And our basin is 5 inches wide, outside diameter. Easiest DIY, easiest French drain, yard drain combination. We're also going to do one better by using a 12 by 12 turf restrictor plate, so the grass will grow up on the plate and not grow up over the inlet. When the storm comes in, you want your system ready. You don't want grass growing over it and restricting the flow of water into your basin. I've seen the grass grow completely over these, and when the storms come through, basements would flood, people would call, we'd go looking for these and we couldn't find them. So that's why we made a turf restrictor plate. We know this. So the majority of the water ends up over here. 4 or 5 inches of water ends up against the back of this condominium. Over here we have this swaled area. We have this nice little indentation. We want to pick up as much water as we can right here. We're going to run a single inlet outlet basin. It's going to be the 6-inch. Over here we want the double. We just know the water that we're dealing with is much greater, so we want to have 2 4-inch pipes. To be able to flow twice the water, we're going to keep this water from becoming flood water. We're going to take in the water as fast as the water finds its way into this corner in this complex. We're going to draw it in, we're going to pipe it out. Then we're going to have the French drain, because this is going to be on knife cut pipe, and we're going to have stone in here. We're going to have that taking in the subsurface water after the rain event, so that the ground is firm over here and the ground isn't squishy. So we want the surface water out of here, evacuated quickly, so it's less damaging. There was water getting into the basement here. They had flooding problems. We're going to take care of those problems for this homeowner. What I always hated about 12 by 12 catch basins for yard drains, you're going to overwhelm a pipe with a 6-inch round. So it made no sense to me why you do a great opening that was 12 by 12. The problem that I found, and again, this is based on my experience as a contractor of 38 years, being in people's backyards, maintaining their yards, maintaining their systems, worms, when you have a grate that comes all the way to the edge, the worms just fall in. The worms that are crawling around in your turf grass, in your yard, when it rains a lot, the water brings them up, they just fall right in. With the turf restrictor plate, we don't have that problem. What happens when worms fall into your catch basin? It smells really rancid. Let me tell you this, you don't want to have to clean out your shop vac. It's going to smell like death. You don't want to have to, you can't even wash it off your hands. It's bad. I know this, again, based on my experience as a contractor of 38 years. All right, we're still going to put our non-woven geotextile filter fabric that's been double punched in the trench. We don't want all the dirt and fines to clog the stone. We want to preserve the stone for as long as we can. So that's why we always use a non-woven geotextile filter fabric that's been double punched. Now, if you don't want to use the fabric, you're an anti-fabric person, you're going to buy into that, great. go ahead, just pour the stone in. It'll work for a while. You're just going to give it an expiration date, an early expiration date at the time of install. So we're going to have a single catch basin on this line. Cal's cutting small fabrics. He's just going to put a small fabric underneath the catch basin. He's going to put a little stone under the catch basin, set it on a small bed of stone. Now, if you don't do that and you just set it on clay, it just forms a seal. It's not going to work. It's not the same. When you put a bed of stone underneath a catch basin, the water that's left in that catch basin can now run through that little bed of stone and come in contact with more area versus those little holes just being plugged right into a little spot of clay. That's not going to drain very well, guys, at all. So now a low percolating soil has a better chance of drying up that catch basin. Okay, so this product here has a chemical called styrene in it. And I'm not, making a public announcement here of any kind. I mean, there it is. There's the warning. So with the use of styrene comes some risk of exposure. Here's what I know. Take that aside. That's not even where I'm going to go with this. I noticed that styrene chips, cracks, breaks, is more brittle, where the HDPE high density polyethylene that we use, same thing that food containers are made out of. This material is the exact same material that your Tupperware, your food containers are made out of. It's safe. It don't crack. It don't chip. It don't break. Right here we have an end cap for the catch basin, and it's also an end cap for the end of corrugated pipe. It's a twofer. We just have to keep one part opposed to two. Love it. You can see we put a cap on this end of the catch basin to start this out. Cal went ahead and put one riser on it. He'll adjust that. Whether it needs another riser or not, he'll know. Once he sets this in place, what you want is you want this to be below the grass surface. Water always finds the lowest point, so you want to draw the water to your inline catch basin. Now that catch basin is taped on and it's in place, Patrick's going to be able to cut the pipe. This is a solid pipe. This ain't a French drain. This is just a yard drain. I get a lot of people in the comments talking about taking our solid pipe and putting stone around our solid pipe. You can, and that makes corrugated pipe extremely strong. It'll make it as strong as PVC Schedule 40, but it still has the flexibility of HDPE, which we really badly need here in the north with our freeze and thaw cycles. Not to mention that if we have any ground settling, we have too many places where PVC splits, cracks, chips, separates at all the, we don't need all the different fittings that PVC pipe needs. PVC pipe needs a ridiculous amount of fittings because it's rigid and you can't just bend it in a serpentine. This is a perfect example right here. We have a French drain that comes through here. Then we got to go around an air conditioner. We don't need all those fittings, all those glue joints to separate. HDPE, far superior. If you want it as strong as PVC Schedule 40, just take some small stones, go ahead and knife them underneath your backfill with small stone. Now it's as strong as PVC Schedule 40. Now we got this extra heavy duty pipe, so we don't bother backfilling with the stone. We have the strength that we need, and we field tested this pipe year after year after year. No splits, no cracks. This pipe performs amazing. Cal did a beautiful job. He's got that turf restrictor plate, that 12 by 12, set a little lower than the ground around it. Really nice. Water's going to find that. It's going to grab it all. Water always finds the low point. There was two risers on that, just so you know. There's two risers on this one as well. We have some natural slope this way. That's why there'd be 4 or 5 inches in here. We're trying to catch some of that water before it makes it there. So we got our first line of offense, and then we got our second line of offense where we're just going to grab up whatever makes it past this first line of yard drains. Notice how the men are taking the shovel and they're cutting up all the big dirt clods. They're packing it in really good with their boots. You want to do this when you're backfilling with the soil. When you're using the soil that you removed and you're backfilling it with that soil, you want to take the extra time to compact that. Otherwise, after your first rain, you're going to have saddling, and that's where you end up with this dip right where the line is at. It's no fun because you got to go back and you got to pull the grass back up and you got to add to it. And if you're a contractor, that's really expensive to run your men back out there to do something like that. This is all the stone that we brought in. It's not a very big pile. It's a very small pile, and it is the small stone. The guys are only putting down a couple inches of small stone. This is so any sediment that comes out of that fine cut, knife cut pipe can settle in the voids of the stone that's under the pipe. We don't want it to build up in the bottom of the pipe. If you're going to do a yard drain, French drain combination, you have to do it this way. Do not use perforated pipe that's been saw cut. It's just going to fill your trench full of sediment. All the sediment that gets washed into that yard drain, French drain, is just going to fill all the voids in the stone. When you use a knife cut or fine cut, it'll carry the debris all the way to the discharge end, the little bit of sediment, and it's going to be very small and it's going to be very fine. That does make its way through those fine cuts, those knife cuts that are not saw cut, perforated. They can settle in a little bed of stone under the pipe. Just have enough slope on your trench to where the little bed of stone that's under the pipe drains out. That's the key. Really nice install here. Just small stone on the bottom, just a couple inches. And again, that's because we're using fine cut. We're using the knife cut pipe. We're going to end up with a little sediment washing through those slices that are in that solid pipe. It's not going to build up in the bottom of our pipe. It's just going to end up in the voids of the stone. The guys did a great job. They put a little stone underneath the pipe. They put the pipe in, and now they're packing stone around the first pipe. Now they're putting on a second pipe. Beautiful installation. These guys always get it right. This is textbook. It doesn't get any better than what they just did. So if you're a homeowner DIYing your French drain, yard drain, you can buy the stone in bags. You don't have to have a dump truck load of stone. Not for a small French drain collection system. So the guys started out real shallow here, so you can only fit one pipe in. We started creating our slope, finally got to 2 pipes. Just cap off the ends. We have virgin pipe, it's not recycled, so we got caps that are also made out of virgin HDPE. We're using our 12 by 12 so the grass don't grow over that inlet. Now we got our top pipe in. The guys are packing stone around it. Really nice installation. So you want to knife the stone underneath the pipe. You don't want to raise the pipe, but you just want to get it to fill the void. This pipe is going to be as strong as PVC Schedule 80. So over here, we got 2 more pipes to put on this side. You can see we just have just enough stone to create a little void to collect sediment. So contractors, you now have 2 systems you can quote your clients. You got the A system, which could be a tri-pack or quad pack, where you run the catch basins on a separate solid line. Now you can give them a B option. It's a little bit cheaper, a little more reasonable. You know, just with this new catch basin, now you can do a French drain, yard drain, combined the right way. You can guarantee your customers, give them a 15-year warranty. It's going to last that long. So once you get the discharge in your water, you can just go ahead and you put the pipes side by side for your discharge. Super simple, easy. 4-inch pipe is real easy to work with. Right now we can flow as much water as you can flow in a 6-inch pipe. Always cut the excess fabric off. You don't want a heavy overlap. We have inlet basins on this French drain, but if you want your French drain to take in water from the surface, which we do, then you don't want a heavy overlap. You won't be able to get the water to drain through the fabric. So the guys cut the excess off, then they pull it tight. They have just minimal overlap, and then they pin it with the fabric staples. Really nice, easy system to put in. Guys did a nice job. We got a double barrel running out. Really nice job. We have a 100-foot discharge line. The reason why we have a 100-foot discharge line is we're going to end this at a pop-up emitter. People are in my comment sections all the time saying, can I run my yard drain, French drain to a pop-up emitter? And the answer is absolutely. But you have to have enough fall. So let me explain. The top of your pop-up emitter has to be below the lowest point of your trench in your French drain, yard drain to drain it out completely. So that's why our discharge line has to be 100 feet away. We finally have enough drop, enough fall to empty out that trench completely. Now the men already buried the discharge end. That way they could lay the turf mats over it and run the stone in. Most of the dirt goes back in. So for a DIYer, that's a benefit. Now you're going to have a few wheelbarrows of dirt to get rid of on a discharge line. But you're not hauling away the dirt like you do for the collection portion of it. And that's the same with the yard drain that has no French drain. Our yard drain that's ran right here, that's just on some catch basins. This is the beginning of a line, it's low flow. Otherwise we would have used 2 pipes if we had more water, but we don't have enough water to demand the double pipes. And we didn't build a French drain, so that's another reason. For the French drain, yard drain combination, we always got to use the 4-way connect catch basin. They're not going to have a water problem. We got 4 inlet basins that are 6 round. When you got a 6-inch diameter inlet and you build it with a turf restrictor plate so the grass can't grow over it, so you're getting the full 6-inch. And we have it on a dual pipe discharge. When you're running double pipes, you know we can move 400 gallons of water per minute when this thing is being pushed to its limit. Well, we have stone left over. We didn't need all the stone, so we've been loading up the rest of the stone that we didn't use, put in the back of the dump truck, take back to the yard. A lot of fabric has been trimmed, cut back. Perfect example how they cut back the fabric so that they can just meet it in the middle. There's just a little overlap, no more than 2 inches, and then they put the fabric pins in. Always put sand on your fabric. That way if you have fine sediment in your soil, it won't clog your non-woven geotextile filter fabric that's been double punched. For fully encapsulating a French drain system, you want to keep all the contaminants out, but you want to keep its infiltration rate up as high as you can. by putting sand on top, you're achieving that. The guys still got to take the leaf blower and just kind of fluff up the grass, but I'll show you what it looks like. They're pulling up the turf mats right now. We're getting out of here. It's Friday, so everybody's happy. It's time to start the weekend. So we got open French drain through here, open French drain through here, double pipe system, yard drain, French drain combination in through here. French drain starts right there. Single pipe, going to double pipe, grabbing up all that bulk water at 4 or 5 inches of water. This open French drain is on knife cut. We just continued the run that we were on. It's going to work just fine. Over here we have an indentation. This is kind of the first line of defense. We're going to grab up a lot of the water. It's going to be interesting to see how much water that's coming from down here that ends up settling in here actually makes it over here. I'll try to get this during a trench of rain for you guys. I can chase blobs on the Doppler till I'm blue in the face and they just float wherever they may float. It's really a difficult thing to do, and I usually like to go to the bigger batter systems or the sump pump systems, the stuff where, you know, you really get some water moving. But if I can get this thing in action, I will for you guys. We're so happy to have this option available to our homeowners now. If you can't afford a tri-pack or a quad pack, you can afford this double pipe system that's a yard drain French drain combination. This is the easiest yard drain system to snap together. We built everything. Quick connect, easy, no hassle. And I know what hassle is because I know everything that's on the market and I know all of its problems. We designed for efficiency. I'm happy that we now finally have something for the DIYers. Super easy to snap together. It's a reality to call this an easy DIY. All right, everybody, if you like the products that we're bringing to the market, give us a thumbs up. It supports what we're doing. I'm your host, Robert Sherwood, and until that next video, leave all your comments in the comment section. If you need me to make you a video, tell me, I'll make it.